The first big shock in film history was all about raw feeling. In 1896, in a small cafe in Paris, the Lumiere brothers showed a short film called The Arrival of a Train. The shot was simple. A train coming toward the camera, getting bigger and bigger until it looked like it was about to hit the audience. There was no story or characters, just a moving train, but people in the audience screamed and ran thinking it was real. The Lumiere's brilliance wasn't about storytelling, it was about how close they placed the camera. By putting it on the platform, they made the train look like it was rushing straight at the crowd. The safe distance between audience and screen disappeared. The train was not over there anymore, it was happening right in front of them. That moment showed the first true power of movies: immersion. It proved that a camera could pull people into another world and make them feel real fear and excitement. It turned the viewer from a passive watcher into someone who felt like they were part of what was happening. Every 3D movie, every IMAX experience, and every game that tries to overwhelm your senses can be traced back to that single, terrifying shot of an approaching train. The first real movie trick was a fake execution. In 1895, filmmaker Alfred Clark made a short film for Thomas Edison called The Execution of Mary, Queen of Scots. It showed exactly what the title promised: the beheading of a queen. But there was a problem: you couldn't actually kill someone on camera. Clark came up with a simple but brilliant idea. He filmed the queen kneeling at the block, then stopped the camera. The actress was replaced with a dummy, everyone froze, and the film started rolling again. The axe fell, the head rolled, and when people watched it, they thought it had really happened. It was the first special effect in film history, and the first time a movie fooled its audience. That tiny pause in filming turned the camera from a recording device into a tool for illusion. For the first time, movies could create something that didn't exist. That one trick changed everything. It showed that film wasn't limited by reality. It could stop time, switch people, and rewrite the rules of the world it captured. Every visual effect since, from Méliès's A Trip to the Moon to the digital worlds of Avatar, began with that single, clever cut. In 1903, movies fired back. Edwin Porter's The Great Train Robbery ended with a shot no one expected. A bandit stares straight into the camera, raises his gun, and fires point blank at the audience. People screamed, some ducked, others laughed nervously. For the first time, a movie wasn't just something to watch, it was something that watched back. That one shot broke the invisible wall between story and spectator. Suddenly, the audience was part of the film's world. In the 1920s, most films still looked like plays. Cameras stayed wide and actors performed like they were on stage. But then came Sergei Eisenstein's Battleship Potemkin. One shot changed everything: the close-up of a naval officer giving the order to fire. His pince-nez glints, his face is cold, his eyes are empty. That single image turned film into psychology. Eisenstein wasn't just showing a man, he was showing the idea of authority and of cruelty. By getting that close, he turned a face into a symbol. The close-up became more than a tool, it became a weapon. It let movies capture thoughts, guilt, fear, and madness without a word being spoken. Every chilling stare in a horror film, every silent moment in Bergman's dramas, every time an actor's eyes tell the story, it all began with that officer's cold, glassy look. In F.W. Murnau's The Last Laugh, a proud hotel doorman loses everything: his job, his dignity, and his sense of self. When he turns to drink, the camera doesn't just record it, it feels it. The lens sways and spins, the world tilts, faces blur, the camera becomes drunk with him. For the first time, a movie showed emotion as an experience, not just a story. Karl Freund freed the camera from its tripod and made it alive. They turned film into feeling. That moment opened the door for everything that came after: the surreal dreams of Buñuel, the paranoia of Repulsion, the dizzying chaos of modern horror. It was the birth of the subjective camera, one that didn't just look at people, but lived inside them. Few sequences are as famous as the Odessa steps in Battleship Potemkin. Soldiers march down the stairs, firing into a panicked crowd. A baby carriage slips loose and tumbles down the steps. It's one of the most copied images in film history, but what made it powerful wasn't the image alone, it was how Eisenstein edited it. Each shot collides with the next: boots, faces, blood, and the falling carriage. The emotion builds like music. This was the birth of montage, the idea that meaning comes from the collision of images, not just what they show. Eisenstein made people feel terror through rhythm, not dialogue. That single sequence became the blueprint for every modern action scene. The chaos of the Bourne Ultimatum, the tension of The Godfather, the pulse of every battle montage, they all began on those steps. For decades, filmmakers used focus like a spotlight, blur what doesn't matter and highlight what does. Then came Citizen Kane. In one of its most famous shots, a little boy plays in the snow outside. Inside, his mother signs away his future. Both are in perfect focus. Nothing is hidden. Orson Welles and cinematographer Greg Toland used deep focus to show life as it really is. Complex, layered, and cruelly clear. The audience wasn't told where to look, they had to choose. The tragedy wasn't in a single face. It was in the space between them, a boy outside, a mother inside, and a lifetime of distance between them. That shot taught audiences to read the screen like a page. It gave film depth, literally and emotionally. And every filmmaker since has tried to fill the frame as completely as Welles did. In Vertigo, when James Stewart looks down from a great height, the world seems to stretch and warp beneath him. The background rushes away while he stays perfectly still. The effect came from a simple trick. The camera moves forward as the lens zooms out, twisting space itself. It's one of the most famous shots in film history, not because it's flashy, but because it makes you feel the character's fear. It turns dizziness into something visible. Since then, every director trying to show panic, obsession, or shock has borrowed that same move. From Jaws to Goodfellas, that one visual illusion has become a universal language for anxiety. Orson Welles opened Touch of Evil with a bomb and a single take. The camera starts close, a ticking explosive placed in a car's trunk. Then it floats above the streets, following the car as it drives through a border town. 3 minutes later, the car explodes. No cuts, no breaks, just tension building in real time. That shot changed how filmmakers thought about space and suspense. Welles turned the long take from a stunt into a story. You can see its legacy everywhere in Goodfellas, 1917, and every movie that tries to make time feel real. The unbroken shot became cinema's ultimate flex. One take, one bomb, one perfect explosion of style and storytelling. In The Matrix, time slows as an agent fires at Neo. The camera spins around him while the bullet drifts by in slow motion. A mix of still cameras, CGI, and perfect timing. It looked impossible, and suddenly nothing in movies felt impossible anymore. That shot made digital film making cool. It proved effects could change not just what we see, but how we see it. Every game, every fight scene, every slow motion moment of the 2000s came from that one spin. Stanley Kubrick understood terror. In The Shining, he didn't need monsters. He needed a hallway, a pair of elevator doors open. A wall of blood pours out, slow, heavy, endless. It floods the hall, swallowing everything. The image made no literal sense. That's why it worked. It wasn't real blood, it was memory, violence, and madness. A flood of everything the Overlook Hotel had ever done. Kubrick turned architecture into emotion. That hallway wasn't just a place. It was a mind breaking apart. Every surreal horror image since, from Black Swan to Mother, owes something to that wave of red. Oldboy stripped action down to pain. A man with a hammer fights his way through a corridor full of enemies. The camera stays still. No cuts, no tricks, just 3 minutes of raw, exhausting struggle. You feel every hit, every breath, every moment of desperation. It was the opposite of Hollywood's fast editing. It hurt to watch because it felt real. That single shot inspired John Wick, Daredevil, and a new era of grounded action. Sometimes, the most powerful move is not to move the camera at all.